This is the Jared Presley Experience. Today we have Paul Urrutia. Urrutia.
Urrutia.
Yeah, sorry about that. Not it's a
No
hard.
problem. I'm used
Anyway,
to it.
it's all good. How you been? You're out in San Francisco now for the last few years.
I'm doing well, doing well. It's good to see you, Sir Jared Presley. Thanks for having me on. Yeah,
For
I
sure.
moved out. I moved out here in January 2019. It's been 3 years, and I miss a lot about Cincinnati. Happy for the Bengals as well.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
it happens
that's
when
good.
you leave.
Yeah, it
Unfortunately,
always happens when you leave. Good things happen, and yeah, I do miss Cincinnati and the community there, and Skyline Chili and all kinds of things. So Cincinnati is a great place. I'm happy for the community that they have a winning team and things are still going well there for people.
yeah. And the thing is, and I'm sure it's the same out there too. It's not quite pre-COVID yet. It's better
Right.
than the lockdown, but like music, there's not as many events. There's still this weird. I feel like it's getting out of that point, but there's still
Hmm.
not as much happening as it was pre-COVID. I feel like I would get to that point, especially within North Side. There's
Hmm.
some venues that still, with the latest variant, they're still not really playing any shows, etc.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I miss most about Cincinnati is my friends, acquaintances, and the great music scene. Um, Lots of great players and bands and musicians in Cincinnati, and you guys should be proud.
What about out there? Have you thought about or have played out there with any groups, anything?
I've been to auditions and been to a few auditions, but nothing's panned out. Haven't been selected, and that's okay. I'll keep trying. I haven't quite found a community here in San Francisco. There's not much of a arts music community here compared to Cincinnati. Maybe because it's
Really?
yeah. Maybe I just haven't found it yet. I've been here 3 years, and I'm still meeting new people and meeting friends, but I just wasn't as connected as I was in Cincinnati. So I'm gonna keep trying, keep reaching out, looking on Craigslist and seeing what's out there.
And it takes a while too. And San Francisco is it's a bit, I mean, a relatively big city. It's not as
Yeah.
big as say like LA, but it's still a pretty big city, I would say. And I know the scenes are different. I mean,
Hmm.
that just takes time, and you'll get there. I feel like.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
keep trying, and I feel like here hip hop's big, EDM, different kinds of music. Obviously, there is kind of like a scene and punk scene, but different kinds of music here. And I feel like artists have moved out of the city because it's so expensive here. So artists live in Oakland and more affordable parts of the Bay Area.
oh yeah,
So I don't know, I need to look a little further outside of San Francisco and see what else is out there. Sometimes I just don't want to cross the bridges or drive too far.
no, I quite understand that. And just to let the audience know, for a while, I mean, we still record together, but you did play live with me for a few years, um,
Yeah.
and for a couple other groups as well. Was there any specific memories of playing venues? Any favorite venues that you played at?
Well, obviously, Urban Artifact. That was always my favorite to play at. I love their beer, and I love the stage there, and the sound guys are great, and the ambiance, the environment, the community. Urban Artifact was always my favorite place to play and hang out and have a beer.
And that was
We
mine
and
too. That
yeah,
was mine
you and I
too.
had great memories there playing there, and yeah, I need to visit Cincinnati. I think if the Bengals win, I want to fly out and
This
celebrate.
year.
I'm thinking about it, but it'd be great to come to the parade if Cincinnati wins. I know the community in Cincinnati is gonna they're gonna go crazy if they win.
Yeah, they haven't been since like 1988. And ironically, that was with San Francisco Giants, not Giants, the 49ers.
Hmm. Yeah, I was hoping it would be a rematch, the
Yeah,
49ers versus the Bengals, but let's see if they can win one. I'm hoping the Bengals can win one this time.
yeah. But if it had been, like, I would be wary of wearing any Bengals attire out there. I don't think
Right.
like it'd be
Especially in
like,
LA too. People
oh,
should be
with her,
yeah, in LA as
yeah,
well. But
oh
Bengals
yeah,
colors they're not really gang colors. I wouldn't be too worried about it.
yeah. We'll see who wins, but yeah, man. I mean, now with Urban Artifact, that's now officially it's called Radio Artifact, that venue, and it's
Oh.
changed a lot. The stage they've redone the stage since they've
Hmm.
been there, and they've had so like record label now. They have that I'm on. A lot of other artists are too. So it's really
Cool.
nice. Is there any other
What are
specific?
the?
Go
I
ahead.
was going to ask, how do they help you out being on the record label? Do you do a lot of recording with them?
Um, well, when you were playing with me, I had some of the
Hmm.
shows recorded live. So what is on
Right.
there from I was actually recorded there was recorded live there. Some studio
Hmm.
stuff as well, but most of what is on there so far is what I've recorded live on the stage a few years ago.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to ask is, what got you to playing drums years ago? Why did you start?
My mom always says I was banging on pots and pans when I was a kid. I know that's the cliche story.
Yeah,
But when I had some friends in high school, and they played guitar, one guy played bass, and they needed a drummer. Was when I was, I think, 14 or 15 in high school. I was like, all right, I'll play drums, and I started taking lessons. My parents, God bless them, they bought me a drum set and put up with the
that's cool.
noise, and yeah, and I've been playing since I was 14, 15, 35 now, so
I
quite a
started,
long time.
yeah, I started about 98. I mean, I was around that age too. So
Hmm.
it's been quite some time. Is there any specific drummers that influenced you during those early years?
I'm a big Pink Floyd fan, so that's what I say. My style is probably mostly influenced by Nick Mason. His just laid back bluesy style. I love all that
Interesting.
prog rock. I love prog rock. Both you and I
Yeah.
have a love for prog rock, but I love Floyd, and obviously like Ringo Starr, and um, definitely influenced me. And nowadays, people that influenced me, probably Gavin Harrison. Have you heard of Porcupine Tree? Um,
Not enough. Not enough.
I'll send you some of their music. They're coming out with a new album soon, thank goodness. But they're a great prog band, and hopefully they'll be touring soon. And yeah, he's a great drummer. Definitely. I don't know. So influences me, but definitely keeps me pushing and trying to be better, because he's just. Sometimes you watch him play and you're like, wow.
Oh yeah, and what you're talking about with Nick Mason, I always feel like I know he was with a huge band, but he's still underappreciated. Like he's not. A lot of people don't even know his name. He's kind of
Right,
overshadowed by Waters and Gilmore, and I
right.
understand that. And unfortunately, for the most part, a lot of drummers are undershadowed. Like with
Mm,
Van Halen, most people think of like Eddie Van Halen, but there's also Alex.
yeah,
There's a lot of
right.
people don't they don't even realize that his brother was the drummer
There's a
for all
Van
the.
Halen as well. Yeah, unless they're the band leader, like a jazz band, like Billy Cobham or something,
Oh
or
yeah,
Max Roach, or
Matt
where they're
Rhodes. I
the
mean,
band leader,
yeah. I
where,
mean those.
where they're the band leader. But yeah, usually they're the just supporting band member,
Yeah,
which is fun. Can't always be out front
and it
soloing.
depends. Yeah, and it depends on what you want, et cetera, and what kind of style. With jazz, I mean, jazz is just so different, and a lot of that is
Hmm.
really um, the backbone. Because with the improvisers, you need like the backbone, and improvising doing on drums like that is very
Right.
difficult. Like Matt Roach, et cetera. Like some of those drummers really just make it, or Buddy Rich. I mean, some of those people make it look really
Yeah, Buddy
easy.
Rich.
He's really
Yeah, I
good.
miss those drum battles. I feel like drums used to be loved a lot more in the 50s and the 60s, and the early 1900s. People, you watch some of these videos and drum battles, and they're on stage and people are cheering. I don't really see a lot of that anymore. But
Well, especially with
music's changed.
oh, I mean, I'm not. It's still great music coming out. Just
Hmm.
unfortunately, especially when you're talking about the top 40, some of that's so overproduced and
Hmm. You're right.
so digital. Like,
You don't even need a drummer. Just program a beat, four to the
yeah,
floor, and that's it.
but at that point, it's too perfect. Like, yeah, I mean, you can have a drum machine or like a drum, you like input it, and it'll be perfect. There'll be no drummer that could match that. But you kind of lose
Yeah,
the
you're missing
edge.
that human connection, and I feel like it'll go in cycles. I feel like eventually people will want, musicians and musicianship, and people will. I think eventually will. I don't know. EDM won't fall out. Obviously, it'll always be big, but I
Yeah,
feel like people will want to see, world class musicians again, and people who really are just incredible musicians.
and I do like EDM, but the EDM I like is where they actually have musicians. Like, it's not all programmed on a computer, where you
Right? Yeah,
actually have.
there's Jamtronica bands. There's
Yeah,
bands that have EDM influence and part of their music. It still blows my mind that thousands of people will go to a concert and just sit there and dance to some guy pressing buttons and
that's what's
it
unfortunately
blows my
that's,
mind.
and what I would say would be worse is just plain DJs, where that's taken up most venues. You just have a DJ
Hmm.
and they just
Yeah.
play. And unfortunately, because it's just one person you have to pay, and
Hmm.
they'll probably pay that one person not that much. Unfortunately, that's where a lot of bars have gotten to. Fortunately,
Hmm.
another drummer that I was thinking of, Neil Peart.
Right.
Like as
Rest in
far as
peace.
yeah, unfortunately, it's a couple years ago, but like just like he was so good where he almost overshadowed the rest of Rush. That's just to show
Right.
you. And when you have like Alex Lifeson and Geddy
Well, he was
Lee,
a songwriter too. He wrote lyrics
oh,
and
he did
he
the
was more than a
lyrics.
drummer.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
he was all around musician. He was more than just a drummer, and he wrote the lyrics, wrote some songs, and he was one of the better musicians in the band, I think.
Well, I mean, but his drums, I mean, were just so great in what he did. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's why he's remembered mostly for. And I understand that
Mm-hmm.
just because he was so good. Like, very few drummers really get that high of praise and notice in a
Mm-hmm.
band. As I mentioned
Right.
before, the other drummers, unfortunately.
Me, I just want to be in a group and have fun and make a little money. I don't care about recognition, no ego. I just have a love for playing music, and if I could do it
So,
professionally, that'd be a blessing.
oh, that's very difficult in any city.
Yeah, it is. Right.
It is. So there's no solo project planned. It just you're hoping to
I've been working
contribute.
on some stuff. I bought my e kit and I've been recording some stuff, and I recorded that blues beat for you. And I
Oh
was
yeah,
playing around with it. I was playing around with it last night, recording some bass lines, um, having fun with it, and some synth leads. And I'll
and
send
they're
you the drum beat, but I was playing around with it last night.
cool. Coming somewhat soon. We'll see. Because on
Mhm.
my end, I'm still going to have to do some stuff with that. So at some point, and I won't
Right.
spoil the song, but there is a cover song I want to do with you. I've already told you the song, but at some
Hmm.
point with other musicians, I'll record because it's technically one of the first songs I learned when I first started playing out.
Yeah.
Well, way before even playing out, just like when I was first got the guitar, and I've always wanted to do like a cover of it. And
And they're a classic group. I love all those 70 rock bands, and
oh yeah,
we're not going to name it, but obviously I love Zeppelin and Bonham and the Who and Keith Moon. All those guys influences me as well.
oh yeah, that's another
Obviously,
drummer too. Yeah, Keith
I
Moon.
wouldn't say my playing's on their level, but definitely influenced me to keep pushing me to practice and get better.
The most crazy drum stuff though, Frank Zappa had some crazy drummers. Like
Hmm.
like if you ever heard of the Black Page, just some of that drum stuff is so out there. And we
Right.
did a couple of Zappa songs, but I never did Black Page. That's an intensely hard song, like
Hmm.
intensely. But it's great.
Lord, I should remember the drummer's name, but I can't remember his name. But he's so good. He's also recorded with Sting and some other groups, and he's world class.
Well, for sure.
Hmm.
Well, thank you, Paul. I appreciate you for coming on and talking about your
Yeah,
drums.
this is exciting. Your new podcast. Which episode is this?
This will be number 3. I'm
Oh,
planning
cool.
on having it monthly.
Hmm. Very cool. And I like your setup there. Your office. With all the
Studio space,
figurines. Yeah, your studio space. That's cool.
action figures. Yeah, it's all.
Action figures. Anything worth money there? Anything?
Um, yes, but I'd rather not discuss how much. I mean, the most expensive stuff you can't see. It's on this part of the wall,
Right.
but all my
Yeah.
equipment's right out here. Guitar equipment when I play. So I just haven't moved. It would be a pain to move like all my guitar equipment that's in front of all this out.
Hmm.
But at some point, I'll do a video or something on the action figures. That's coming.
You have a lot of collectibles there. Any old school comic books or first
Um,
editions?
as far as comments, I have them like in the trunk. That's
Hmm.
way pushed back.
Hmm.
Most of what I have around is old action figures, etc. That I like. like the Batman animated series and the early Batman movies. I really liked as a kid. So a lot of it's nostalgia. There's some other things as
Very,
well. But a lot
very
of these
cool.
figures are ones I had as a kid.
Hmm.
So it's why I got them and have them on display. It's just nostalgia, really.
Never took them out of the box.
Well, I mean, as a kid, I did. I still have some of the loose figures, but these I bought
Hmm.
later on. Um, Nowadays, I can't open. Like, I just can't open. It's something about me. I can't open like newer figures if I get something newer.
It's
It
better not
feels
to.
wrong. It feels wrong. But I still have a lot of what I had as a kid. Like as a kid, of course, you don't know. Like I open it and play with it. And I played a lot with my
Hmm.
brother Jesse. These figures.
That's why it's so hard to find some of these collectibles like Pokemon cards because kids had them and they opened them and they threw them around and tore them up and spilled
Oh yeah.
drinks on them, and it's
Oh
hard to
yeah.
find some of these collectibles from our youth.
And it's even harder from earlier. Like these are from the late '80s, early '90s, but like Star Wars from like the late '70s, those are worth a fortune. And
Mm.
at some point, I'm gonna. There's a toy store owner I know I'm gonna interview, and he really knows a lot about that. But they can go in the thousands with some of the stuff. I mean, it's that
Oh yeah.
rare in the package.
Hmm.
Which if they would have known back then, I mean, that would have been a huge investment. But stuff that's worth a lot of money was trash in someone's day, so to
Hey, just
say.
threw. Yeah,
Well, that
it's amazing what's going on with the Pokemon cards. I just can't believe it. How expensive some of these cards are.
I remember when it was huge in the late '90s. I mean, when people got cards, they wanted to get them out, so they had like the specific cards, but having
Hmm.
them in the
And it,
package is worth a lot.
yeah, I was looking at buying some of the old packages, like the first edition packages, and it's like $7,000 to $10,000 or even more for some of these just
Whoa.
unopened packages. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was never into Pokemon, so I never had them. I think my brother
Hmm.
did for a little while. He might still have some at his house. I'll have to ask.
Yeah, you might have a fortune there. Who knows?
No, he's definitely got them all out of the package, though. I know him. They're definitely all
Yeah.
out of the package. And if they were worth money, he would have sold them by now.
Hmm. Where are you living now, Jared? Are you still are you near Cincy?
Yeah, I'm in Cincinnati.
Okay. I can't remember. I know you were living in Indiana too for a while, or is that where your parents are from?
That's where I grew up.
You grew up in Indiana?
Yes.
Cool.
Then during college I was there. Then I left out.
Hmm. Yeah, I know you used to commute a lot to college and to shows and
That's where we met. Was at NJU. I,
yeah, I
I,
remember that.
oh, I forgot to ask about that. It was the teacher was Professor Michael Grote. I believe that's how you
Hmm.
pronounce the name. It was like
Great musician.
yeah, he was a trombone player, and it was this it's music, African American music in America, something. I forget what the class name
African
was
American history.
of, and I think it was specifically of American music, of
Hmm.
African American music, if I recall
Yeah, it was
correctly, because I don't think he discussed music really of African American, well, of blacks
well,
from different, like of
j
Europe or whatnot. And it's
mhm.
been like 15 years since I've had the class, but it was mostly concentrated on African American music. And
Yeah, jazz, blues, that
oh
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
stuff that especially jazz, where it originated from like New Orleans down
Hmm.
in that section of the country.
Yeah, he was an interesting guy. I think he was a breatharian or something like that. I don't want to get into it, but yeah, it's some sort of religion where they believe in mucus consumption, and I don't know. I
I
kind
don't
of
know.
Googled
I don't
it.
know. I don't know. I don't know.
It was very
We'll
interesting.
yeah, we'll leave it at that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
don't want to.
don't want to speculate.
No. Cool. Well, thanks again, Paul. I appreciate having you on
Anytime. Thanks for having me on. It's a great to be able to see you and chat a little bit. Um, this is great.
for sure. And I'll have links in the description to more music. Thanks again, everyone. This was the Jared Presley Experience.
Have a good day, everyone.